Hello kinds, welcome back to another video on our channel Be Kind. This is me Shrey and this is my wife Kriti. We are both new immigrants in Canada and we both came to Canada with jobs already secured from India. In a previous video, we already covered my profile and my job hunting experience. If you haven't seen that video, we will link that up right now. In today's video, we will be covering Kriti's background and her job hunting experience and how difficult and stressful her journey was. Kriti comes from a technical profile, so we will be understanding her experience and career in Canada as well as in India. This will be really helpful for you because we will be covering all perspectives related to a tech profile, so stay tuned. So Kriti, before we go to the questions, I want to understand from you how many days, weeks or months it took you to find a job in Canada from India. Like when you first started applying to the time when you finally got your offer letter, how much time did it take?
So I was very confident that I would secure a job really fast, but I was completely wrong. It took me around 10 months to finally land a job in Canada, and 3 of those months we were already in Canada, so it was not, so I came here with a confusion. And yeah, to put it in a concise manner, it took me 10 months.
10 months, okay. So we will understand what happened in those 10 months in this video. So let's start with your educational and professional background, if you can share that for the viewers.
Sure. So I'm currently working as a cybersecurity specialist in one of the major tech companies, and I have a background in cybersecurity. I did my master's in cybersecurity from the US, and I worked in the US for around 3.5 years in the cybersecurity field. I also got the chance to work with the US Army as a cybersecurity instructor. So I started off in a startup and now I'm with one of the major tech companies.
Cybersecurity is one of the hot topics right now. Everybody in the world is talking about it every day. There is some or the other news about cybersecurity. So how did you get into cybersecurity? How did you get this passion?
So my passion started off in my undergrads that I was pursuing in India. I was doing CCNA, which is a Cisco Certified Network Associate course, along with my undergrad study in Hyderabad, India. And while I was pursuing CCNA, there was a chapter called CCIE Security, and that's where I really picked my passion up from. I was very curious to know that how can we secure networks and how can we secure organizations and computers, and that's where it started. And then I applied to various US colleges, wrote my GRE so that I can pursue my master's in cybersecurity, because in India it was not at all a known subject back in 2014. So I pursued my master's in cybersecurity and digital forensic, and then I started my job hunt in USA, which was also a very stressful and difficult phase, and it was a field that was slowly picking up its pace in the entire world. Even in the US back in 2016 when I graduated, it was very hard to find that first job, and it's been a journey for me.
So can you talk about finding that first job? Like, now we have come to Canada as PRs, so that bit is sorted for us, but there are so many students that might be watching or that will watch this video. So you have been through that journey of studying in US, very similar to Canada, and then struggling to find a job. So can you talk about your experience of that?
So student life both in US and Canada is quite similar. You are away from home, you are in a newer country, you are learning those new nuances and new cultural diversity. I remember I would apply to plus 200 jobs every day through LinkedIn, reaching out to multiple people on network, and I gave so many interviews, so many rounds. For some I was overqualified, for some I was underqualified, for some I didn't have that US experience, for some they were putting me in a coding job, which is not what my background is. But yeah, I finally landed a job in the US in a startup where I was hired as a cybersecurity instructor, teaching American students about cybersecurity, which I thought was a great start for my career, I would also learn a lot along the way. So yeah, that job was not a full-time job. I was working part-time. Rest of the time I was upskilling my skills by going through different training sessions, certification on LinkedIn, again networking with people so that I can land a better job than what I had already. But the first job I got, they asked me to clean toilets, they asked me to maintain the entire room, and I was surprised that you can't ask a master student to do that. So it was a really hard struggling time of my life, but I did push through. I never gave up because I had that passion for cybersecurity, and it's still burning alive in me, and I always have that zeal to do more in cybersecurity. So I was like, no, this is not the end. I know there is a better plan for me. God has got me to this place in the US. I will get a different role, and that's when the US Army position came up, and that was just for 5-6 months. It was a contract job. Again, they asked me to move to a different city, which was 14 hours drive from my own original city. So I was confused as to how will I do that.
And you had to leave your job for that,
I had
right?
to leave my job for that, so I was scared. It was a major decision, but I took the risk because I knew I wanted to get out of that first job. So I took that risk and I went ahead with the army job, and that was a game-changing chapter for my entire career in cybersecurity.
So, there are several lessons that I can get from your journey, Kriti. First of all, your first job will never be your last job. So, you are learning so much, and it will be a struggle for everybody, especially students. I can't even imagine you, after doing your 2-year masters, being asked to clean the toilets of the classroom that you're teaching. So, definitely kudos to you for striving through that difficult phase. And so many students that I see in Canada, they are also going through a similar phase, working in part-time jobs and struggling to survive. But at the end of the day, life does get better. So Kriti is a shining example of that. If you push through that hard time, there will be better times that will come. And that offer of US Army, again, you have to leave your job for something which was part-time for just 5 to 6 months, but that also talks about the risk-taking ability that you displayed. So in addition to that, you also have to take risks sometimes with your career as well as with your learning. So definitely that paid off.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for sharing that. So after working in the US for about 3 years, you moved back to India, and then we got married, and then we decided to move to Canada. So how was your experience of finding a job in Canada? We got our COPR in August of 2022, and we moved to Canada in January of 2023. So when did you start the process of applying for jobs in Canada?
So I started in May of 2022. In May, I was looking out for jobs through LinkedIn first, not in my own company. I was looking out for jobs in different profiles in my field on LinkedIn, so that I know what type of market is there
in different companies.
In different companies, so that I know what type of job offers or opportunities are there in Canada for my field. So I started looking out for that, and I did get one callback of a major company which is Canada based. But at that time I went through 3 rounds of interviews. We were very excited that we got the first call back, but the problem was I didn't have my COPR, so they didn't want to hire me. Even though I cracked those 3 rounds, they were like, there is no way you can come immediately, and that's when I got my first rejection.
Okay, and then we got our COPR in August of 2022. So what happened after that?
Then I started looking in my own company through internal profiles, reaching out to people. I reached out to so many people through our internal portal, internal company chat portal that we have. And I have so many unread messages. People don't even bother to read your messages, and some of them have seen my messages but they have not replied. So I remember I applied for this same role that I'm doing right now.
That you finally converted?
That I finally converted. So my current manager, when I had applied in August of 2022, rejected my profile, seeing because I'm in India, how can I come to Canada? I reached out to him on Teams. He did not read my message. He read the message, he did not reply. and he just rejected me. So I was really taken aback because I was doing the same role. And I knew I had a good experience. I was really confident that since it's the same role in Canada, I can crack this. But for the same role, same organization, he still rejected me, and I was taken aback. And that is where networking came as a power game for me that changed the entire, I would say, position of where I was in my job hunting process. So I reached out to my manager. I let her know that I am planning to move to Canada. I got my COPR, and me and my husband would like to settle there for good. And that's when she reached out to my now manager and let him know that what I've been doing, how my background is, he should consider me. And that's when he put me back into the interview process. And I gave 4 rounds of interview, including 1 HR round, 1 behavioral round, 1 business, and 1 technical round. And after those interviews, I think by October, I gave my interviews in September of 2022, and by October of 2022, around Karwa Chauth, we got the news that they are going to roll out an offer, and I was beyond happy because it was the same role, it was my same organization, and I was like, okay, this is like my dream come true. And I think I remember celebrating that with Shrey and his family. We all went out for dinner and we were so happy.
One thing that she also mentioned was how informing your manager really helps. So, when we had not informed our manager, I remember both Kriti and I were discussing that whether we should inform our manager or not, when we should inform it, how we should inform them, because we are thinking that they will raise questions that why are you leaving our team, or things will become awkward. But in both of our scenarios, we realized that managers were so much positive in our move, and they helped us. Both Kriti, like Kriti's manager, I think if she would not have been there, this move would not have been possible, and similar for me. So that's another experience that we can share. So be open with your company and with your leaders when you have decided to move. I think they will more than support your ambition to move here. So by October 2022, you had a verbal offer from your manager.
Yeah.
Then what happened? Why did it take so long?
So by October 2022, my manager gave me a verbal offer, and he said that we'll be rolling out your offer letter in 1 week. So I was waiting, I was very excited, and we went along with our normal days. I was working in my India job, we celebrated Karwa Chauth, and it was a normal work week. So I thought, okay, let me give a week. I waited for a week. Then nothing happened. Then I was like, okay, maybe it takes, because my company usually takes a lot of time. So I waited another week, and those weeks turned into months. And then I'm like, what is going on? Then I reached out to my manager, and he informed me that there is a hiring freeze that's going on, and we are closing out all the processes related to hiring. And I was like shattered. I'm like, what? I was so happy that I got the role, and I was I was not expecting that. Then I asked him that will I still get this job, and he said we are not sure because we are stuck in a situation where I can't give you any answer. So that time, I think that was November, till I would say February of 2023. That was the most stressful time of my life. I used to cry almost every night. I was talking to my family and crying. I was crying talking to Shrey. I was so stressed out. I couldn't sleep. I was fighting with him. I was just all over the place because I didn't know what to do. I was reaching out to my old manager then in India that, can you help me? And she was also like, I have no idea. We are stuck in a process, but I will work through this. I will keep following up. Worst case scenario, you have to leave this role and look for another job in Canada. That time was so stressful, and on top of that, we were moving to a different country because Shrey got his job, and I was happy for him because he got his job, and I was so beyond happy, but I was stressed for me.
And I think the time also was very difficult for tech. It was a time where companies around the world were firing people, and tech in general was going through a difficult phase.
I was scared for my job that will I even have a job? Will I get fired? So these things were like bothering me so much. And the worst part is that fear was with me during the flight, because I still, while we were taking the flight to Canada, I still had no idea will I even have a job in Canada or not. We came into Canada in Jan of 2023. I was working for my old job in India, so I was working odd hours in the night, and that continued up till February end. And by February end, I got that golden news that I was waiting for from the past 7 months, that I will have that same role that I interviewed for back in September of 2022, and they will start my job in March. So finally my job started in March, and now I'm working in this role, and I'm very happy. I'm so grateful.
I have been a part of that journey with Kriti, and definitely we understand if you are stressed about your job, because if you're coming to a new country, having that job stability is the biggest thing that comes to your mind. But kudos to her for pushing through that entire phase. So we touched about LinkedIn profile and improving it in the last video. So can you share some of the tips of what you actually did to your LinkedIn profile to improve it?
Always highlight your positives, highlight your certifications, trainings in the featured tab that you have on LinkedIn. That way, if a recruiter or anyone is trying to look at your profile, they would know that what certifications, awards or recognitions you have had. Secondly, make your job description crisp and short. Don't make it like a long paragraphs, because when they are scrolling through your profile, they just want to have a concise view of it. Thirdly, take LinkedIn trainings. There are great LinkedIn learning trainings. Security, you have security certifications like your CISSP, your CompTIA Security Plus, your CCIE security, or your ethical hacking. Take these certifications and make sure you put up those badges in your LinkedIn profile. That's going to stand out and let people know how well certified you are, how well informed you are. The other point that is having a great headline. Now your headline is the concise summary of what you do and what experience you carry. So for tech fields or for my field, I know I've done cybersecurity and digital forensics. So I always mention that in my headline.
Perfect. So very well put. I think I can just add 1 or 2 points more to this. LinkedIn is also an opportunity for you to have other people talk about you. So whenever you have left any job, or if you have any peers or leaders that you have worked with. So I've always used the recommendations portion of LinkedIn. I have reached out to all my ex-bosses whenever I'm switching to write a recommendation for me. And because of that, I have so many leaders who have talked about my skill sets, so that anybody who looks at my LinkedIn profile not just sees what I have written, but also what others have written. So I think that's another brilliant feature for you to use. Another thing is writing posts and articles. If you want to develop your profile and gain a little bit of a following, start writing on LinkedIn. It's like you devote as much time on Facebook or Instagram. If you reduce that and start putting more time on LinkedIn. And Kriti has an absolutely brilliant cybersecurity profile. If you want to learn more about cybersecurity or its scope in Canada, please let us know in comments, and Kriti, we'll make a separate video with you on that.
Yes, if you're really interested to know how you can pursue your career in cybersecurity, what courses can you do, what type of skills you need to have to go for this, and how can you find better jobs and roles in this, you let us know in the comment section. And if you're interested, I will make a separate video just educating on what is there in cybersecurity that you can explore. And as you know, it's a great field to be in right now. So yeah, let us know, and I would definitely love to make a video on that.
Any final tips that you want to share to people who are preferably from a tech background, looking for jobs, either they are already in Canada or they are back in their home country and looking to apply here?
So there are 4 tips that I would like to share from my past experience. The first one is to ramp up your skills. No matter where you are in your journey, make sure that you're ramping up your skills so that you can stand out from other candidates. Second is LinkedIn, and I think throughout the video I mentioned LinkedIn has worked out beautifully for me and for Shrey as well. So ramping up and marketing yourself correctly on LinkedIn is very important. Thirdly is getting certified. Now for us techies, getting certified is a game changing thing, because with tech we learn so many things, but technology is ever changing, it's growing rapidly. So to learn these newer tools, newer techniques, newer certifications is really important. The fourth tip is AI, machine learning, and chat GPT. So as you would know, it's a really hot topic and AI is the future. So anything to do with artificial intelligence, machine learning, even chat GPT, if you can take courses in that, if you can do a project in your company, that's going to make you stand out.
So thanks a lot for that. So this was it, guys, from the both of us. I hope you liked this video, and thanks a lot, Kriti, for sharing so much about your career. And guys, if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. It's an earnest effort. We are still growing this. And if you have any questions about Kriti's journey or about more tips on cybersecurity, please share in the comments and we will cover that in a separate video. Hopefully you like this video. We will see you some other time.
Bye bye.